Bond craft essences are the craft essences that each servant gets when they reach bond level 10. They are an achievement of dedication to the masters who can acquire them. Their usefulness varies depending on the servant and team in question, so I thought I'd break down the different types of areas where the different bond craft essences are most useful. The main types I came up with are the all-rounder type, buster specific, art specific, quick specific, servant specific, niche usefulness, and the bad ones. And I'll go over each in more detail when I get to them. The first type is the all-rounder type. This class usually consists of general buffs like party attack up, party heals, and dual card effectiveness, as well as some NP gain up when appropriate. Some examples are Crown of the Stars with its 15% attack up for the whole party, and Elixir with its 500 HP per turn heal for the whole party. This is usually one where you could stick one of these on your servant, and it'll fit just about any team, without any real downsides. The second type is Buster specific. This class usually consists of Buster effectiveness up and or NP strength up, with some examples being Chrysaor with its 10% Buster up for all allies, and Surge of the Warrior with its 10% Buster up and 10% NP strength up for all allies. This one is more centered around servants like Heracles and Kualter, the triple Buster servants whose main role is just hit really hard with their Buster cards or their Noble Phantasm. The third type is art specific. This class is primarily of arts effectiveness ups and NP gain ups. Some examples being Thunderous Applause with its 15% arts effectiveness up for all allies, and Blade of Hellfire with its 10% arts effectiveness up and NP gain up for all allies. This one is more centered around stall teams, where the goal is just to fire off as many Noble Phantasms as you can, or to stay alive as long as you can. The fourth type is quick specific. This class is primarily revolving around quick-based teams, so it is mostly quick effectiveness up and crit star-based mechanics like crit strength up. Some examples being the Golden Apple with its 15% quick effectiveness up for all allies, and Headband of Resolve for 25% crit strength up for all allies. So that's mainly just for when you want to fire off a lot of crits and get a lot of crit stars to just do all that damage. The fifth type is servant specific. These bondcraft essences mainly serve to buff the servant wielding it, not to the whole party. Some examples being Memory of the Dragon, which is its 30% NP strength up and 30% to decrease target's defense by 5% for 3 turns during normal attacks for Saber Altar. And the Dragon of Smoke escaping from Mount Fuji with its 30% NP strength up, plus one-time Guts with 20% HP restoration when activated for Hokusai. These are more dealing with the servant that is wielding them and making them better at whatever they do, or just having a better all-around kit. The sixth type is the niche use bondcraft essences. These are the ones that don't match the servant's Noble Phantasm type or their general usefulnesses, or the ones that increase damage for a specific trait. Some examples being Revelation from Heaven with its 15% buster up for all allies, with an art servant as being Jean, and Shared Pain with a 30% crit strength up at the cost of 200 HP per turn for Chloe. So this is ones that aren't bad per se, they're just strange or more niche and have like less of usefulness than the ones I previously mentioned, but are still pretty useful in scenarios. The last type is the bad bondcraft essences. These are the ones that deal with debuffs and death resist / death success, which aren't really useful in 99% of fights or don't make that much of an impact. Some examples being Red Leather Jacket with its 30% death success rate up for all allies, and To My Dear Friend with its 30% debuff resist up for all allies. These are the ones that debuff resist and death success / death resist really don't make that big a difference in a fight. If you're death resist, you're not going to proc on a servant. If you do, you're the luckiest man alive. And if you debuff resist, you're probably still going to get hit with regardless of whether you have it or not. Now we have the full list of where I put each servant in the various categories I just mentioned. Keeping in mind, I'm not the absolute best FGO player, so some could be changed around and some may be in the wrong spot. It was all just subjectively based on where I thought they fit. And this will also be in the description, so you don't need to look at this video every time you want to reference it. And finally, some final notes is that usually if you do get a Bondcraft essence, it's better to use a normal one because they're generally stronger. Bondcraft essences to me have always been more trophies than actually useful. But if you like a servant, you just want to get into Bond 10, do it. Because as I said, they're just trophies. It's more like, look, you can put in the time to get this guy to Bond 10. Then it is to, wow, I got a 15% buster up effectiveness for all my allies. And finally, none of them are bad. They're just more niche than the others. Even debuff resist may have a usefulness in a fight, but it's just less than other ones. Well, that is the list. I'm trying to keep it updated as soon as new servants are released, because I think it could be a useful resource. If you have any ones you think are wrong and want me to move, feel free to tell me and I can update the list, or at least present the case to argue the list, and I'll make the judgment there. Or just discuss what ones you think are good and which ones you think are bad, which ones you think are worth investing in versus which ones are definitely not.